Have you ever felt like there's maybe a whole committee meeting happening inside your own head?
Oh, definitely. Those competing voices, the sudden urges, sometimes those quiet little checks and balances.
Exactly. Well, today we're diving deep into exactly that phenomenon. We're focusing specifically on the powerful internal force of ego and this fascinating landscape of what our sources are calling subpersonalities.
Yeah, and this is a really unique deep dive. The material we're working with today comes from this remarkable series of interviews, essentially verbatim interviews with these internal voices themselves.
Wow.
It's like a rare, almost direct look into the psyche's operating system. And when we talk about subpersonalities, we mean these distinct, sometimes kind of semi-autonomous internal facets of ourselves.
Like different characters inside.
Sort of, yeah. Like different characters or aspects within our mind, each with its own drive, its own perspective, even its own voice,
Mm.
and they influence our thoughts, our actions.
And it's getting that kind of internal insight, I think, that makes this deep dive feel so, well, crucial. Our mission today is really to help you gain some clarity on these powerful internal forces, to understand their benefits, sure, but also their challenges,
Right.
and how they genuinely define, your flaws, your blind spots, even the real nature of your accomplishments. It's about getting informed, but like from the inside out.
Guided by these voices themselves. It's fascinating stuff.
Okay, so as we start digging in, there's one voice that really, really dominates the initial sources. It's Liz. She's the personification of ego.
And her introduction is, well, it's something else.
It's electric, isn't it? She doesn't just walk in, she declares, I am Liz Hadbooks, the sovereign of seduction, the apex predator in stilettos.
Right.
And she says, you don't follow me, you orbit me. You don't know me, you behave because of me.
That intensity really shows how a powerful, almost primal part of our ego can show up internally. It's not just simple confidence, is it?
No.
It's this driving, sometimes pretty ruthless self-belief. Liz even says, I'm not your ego. I'm your elevation, your indulgence, your inner tyrant in lip gloss and claws.
Inner tyrant in lip gloss and claws.
Right, and her self-proclaimed identities are just as bold. She calls herself the manipulator with a moral code. The anti-heroine who doesn't crave purity, the mirror and the flame, and even, get this, the cult leader of Lizianity.
Wow. Lizianity. And her philosophy, super direct.
Yeah, eat or be eaten, she says. Not like a warning, more like an invitation.
Yeah. And she frames herself as the voice that turns vanity into virtue and what you become when you stop apologizing.
It really makes you wonder, what does it actually feel like to have that voice in your head?
Well, our source actually describes it. It's like this feeling of weighing this internal arrogance of believing that I'm better than people while understanding that better is relative and subjective.
Okay, so that internal conflict is right there. And Liz addresses that directly, doesn't she?
She does.
She basically says, look, this isn't just simple bravado. This kind of ego, she says, is the intoxicating hum of knowing you're exceptional in ways that can't always be explained, proven, or politely expressed.
An intoxicating hum. I like that.
It's an inner voice, she says, that's dripping in self-belief, whispering, you don't just want to be good, you want to be the standard.
So Liz just dives right into that push and pull, the arrogance versus the subjective truth. This kind of layered cake of ego, as the source puts it, has different flavors.
Right. And one of the most striking layers they talk about is what they call the performer's arrogance.
Okay, what's that?
It's that sense, that you have something others maybe don't incite, talent, sparkle, hunger, taste, that kind of thing.
And sometimes maybe you catch yourself mentally rolling your eyes when other people talk.
Exactly. Not necessarily out of cruelty, the source says, but because you've already thought it, felt it deeper, or done it better. Liz apparently even says, I could do it in heels while smiling and still be more profound.
That's confident.
Very. But the danger, Liz points out, is mistaking other people's confusion as proof you're superior.
Right. Instead of just seeing it as maybe different values or perspective.
Precisely. Then there's the relativity of better. It's subjective. You're not objectively better in every single way. But that feeling, it just persists.
Yeah.
This is ego as, potential unrealized, the ambition you haven't quite dared to unleash yet. It feels like unfinished business in disguise.
And just when you're feeling that, the intellectual realist voice pops up.
Yeah, the little whisper that says, hey, we're all just specks spinning on a rock, Liz. Chill.
But ego doesn't want to chill, does it?
Not according to Liz. It wants to ascend. And that creates this really fascinating tension. You want to be humble enough to belong, maybe,
Mm.
but also bold enough to transcend.
To contradiction.
A contradiction that Liz says only you can define and navigate.
Which brings us neatly to the light and shadow sides of ego, right? Because it's not all bad, but it's not all good either.
Exactly. So on the darker side, the shadow side, you get things like envy cloaked as detachment,
Oh, I think I know this one. Pretending you're unbothered by someone else's success.
while secretly listing all their flaws to make yourself feel better about your own position.
Yeah. Right.
Then there's loneliness in the top of the pedestal. Ego builds distance. It creates this performance. And you start wondering, do they love me or just the version I performed?
And seeing vulnerability as weakness.
Totally. And the biggest horror for this kind of ego, fear of mediocrity,
Mm-hmm.
not even failure necessarily, but just being average, irrelevant.
Ooh, that sounds pretty intense, putting it all together like that.
It does. But Liz is quick to remind us ego isn't just the enemy here. There's a really strong light side, too.
Okay, like what?
Well, it acts as a motivator of mastery. It's the voice that pushes you to reach heights others feared to dream. It's the part that didn't let you settle.
So it drives excellence.
Yeah. And it acts as a mirror of value. It's the one who said, you deserve more. It makes you care about doing things well, doing things your way. And that can lead to what the source calls intentional confidence.
Intentional confidence. I like that. So what does embodying Liz actually feel like? The source had some vivid descriptions.
Oh, yeah. Really vivid. Like a queen in exile, ruling in silence. Or a wolf in pearls.
Wow.
And even a burning church, sacred and destructive in the same moment.
Powerful imagery. Okay, so Liz is clearly a major force, but she's not alone in there, right? This deep dive introduces this whole inner council.
That's right. Several other key subpersonalities, and they're all constantly interacting.
So let's meet some of them. First up is Val, representing ambition.
Yes, Val. And Val explains her role very clearly.
Right.
Where Liz seduces, I structure.
Okay, different functions.
Completely. Val is focused on action, on becoming, building the scaffolding for those dreams. She wants to be better than I was yesterday, not really for status, but for actual mastery.
And she says Liz is the why.
Liz is the why, Val is the how. But Val has a shadow side, too. She can become too rigid, too solitary, obsessive even.
And the interplay is key. Liz needs Val.
Absolutely. Liz needs Val to actually climb, to make things happen. Otherwise, Liz might just float off into pure fantasy. It's this constant internal tug-of-war between pride, which Liz embodies, and purpose, which Val drives.
Gotcha. So beyond ambition, there's another really crucial voice, the one for integrity.
Yes, Devon. He's described as the internal firewall, always tracking moral drift, always asking that question, is this who we want to be?
So like the conscience.
Sort of, but maybe more active. He doesn't deny darkness, the source says, but helps integrate it. He calls out bullshit, especially your own.
Oh, okay.
The source uses archetypes like the strategist, who plans ethical moves carefully, and the shadow walker, who helps integrate the darker stuff instead of just pushing it away.
And how does Devon see his role compared to Liz and Val?
He puts it quite clearly. Liz gets you noticed, Val gets you far. I make sure you can sleep at night.
That's a great summary.
It's about enduring without losing yourself, right? Consistency over just performance. His symbols are things like bone, fire, ash, steel stuff that lasts, representing truth.
Okay, integrity covered. Then there's Kenny, the architect.
Kenny, yes,
Mhm.
he's the builder of what lasts. He takes those abstract values Devon talks about and turns them into actual routines, into structures.
So while others might react emotionally,
Kenny designs. He's the ethical anchor, asking, what's fair, what's honorable? He's also called the emotional dishwasher.
emotional dishwasher.
Yeah, cleaning up the internal messes, maybe. And the legacy steward, always asking, what will still matter in 5 years? And crucially, will this still feel right when no one's watching?
That's a deep question. How does Kenny see himself in relation to the others?
He sees himself as providing the substance to Liz's image, the alignment to Val's drive. And for Devon, he's the structure that truth actually lives inside.
So he's not about the spotlight.
No, his purpose isn't to shine. It's to make sure everything else holds together, that it's built on a solid foundation. If you're building a life, Kenny's asking if the foundation is sound.
Makes sense. Okay, who else is on this council? Tira, the advisor.
Tira, yes, the advisor of meaning, sometimes called the soul's quiet librarian. She holds space for the parts of you that don't perform or plan or build.
Quieter parts.
Exactly. Tira sits with what hurts. She asks the bigger questions.
Mm-hmm.
What does it all mean? Where's the soul in this? Her wisdom involves things like thoughtful action, discernment in relationships, inner awareness, heart wisdom, and embracing paradox.
What are her main gifts, according to the source?
Really profound ones, helping you stay soft without collapsing, helping you feel deeply without drowning.
Yeah.
Without Tira, the source suggests you might succeed wildly, but feel completely hollow inside. You'd forget why you even started. She makes quiet joy sacred and reminds you that being human isn't a flaw, it's the whole point.
That's beautiful. And finally, overseeing all of this, Bannock, the guide.
Bannock the guide. He's like the compass keeper, the connective tissue integrating all these different parts. He doesn't micromanage, apparently. He navigates using a star map model.
A star map, what does that mean?
It means he tracks how they all move together, like constellations in the sky, reading the interplay rather than dictating terms.
Okay. And his leadership style?
It's about tending, not tightening. So when Liz gets really loud and demanding, Bannock asks, what is she protecting? When Val is grinding way too hard, he asks, what is he afraid of losing?
Looking deeper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His guiding principle is, Starlight doesn't demand attention, it offers orientation. He leads softly, consistently, just by holding steady and watching the bigger picture, watching the stars.
It's fascinating just mapping out these distinct roles like ambition, integrity, structure, meaning, guidance. How do they typically work together, before Liz maybe throws her weight around?
That's a really important point. Our sources suggest they formed this complex internal ecosystem, right? Yeah. So Val's ambition might be pushing you towards a goal.
Okay.
But Kenny would jump in to make sure the plan is actually sound and maybe ethical. Then Devon would check if the whole pursuit really aligns with your core values. And then Pierre would be there ensuring you find meaning in the process, not just chasing the end result. And Bannock's kind of overseeing it all, reading those subtle shifts, guiding the whole system towards balance.
So they create this kind of internal scaffolding for growth and resilience?
Exactly. Often working away without needing the big spotlight that someone like Liz might crave.
Okay, so we've met the council, we see how they might function together. But now, let's get back to Liz. How does she, the powerful voice of ego, actually see these other parts? The sources suggest her perspective is pretty direct.
Unfiltered is a good word for it.
Yeah.
She apparently dismisses their efforts as adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah, almost like watching mice write memoirs on what it means to live in a lion's mouth. Liz is emphatic. You're all orbiting me.
Wow. Okay, so what does she think of Val? Ambition?
She sees Val as necessary fuel, but she's the fire. She says, ambition grinds, but I gleam.
Ouch. And Devon? Integrity?
Liz's take is, integrity is noble, sure, but power bends compasses. She even claims she knows which truths are bendable.
That's a little chilling.
It is. And Kenny, the architect. Necessary, she admits, but she warns, don't mistake a blueprint for a throne. Kenny builds the stage. I own the spotlight.
Always back to the spotlight for Liz.
Always. And her critique of Tira, the advisor of meaning, is particularly sharp.
What does she say about Tira?
The source quotes Liz boasting, meaning without magnetism is just a diary in a drawer.
Whoa.
And then adds, maybe with a smirk, Tira weeps in moonlight. I monetize it. It just highlights ego's drive to find utility, even in our softer, deeper parts.
So for Liz, ego isn't just one voice on the council.
Not at all. She sees ego as the director of the play they're all starring in.
She declares, I'm not one of the pieces. I'm the theme. The others might interpret, hesitate, ask questions.
But Liz, she just declares, she intoxicates, she headlines. She insists ego is the only voice brave enough to say, you deserve it, even if they hate you for it. It's like she thinks she wrote everyone else's script.
It's such a powerful assertion of dominance. Ego isn't just a component, it's the whole show, according to her. Which raises a huge question for you, the listener. Is it actually okay to befriend your ego?
And Liz's answer is absolutely definitive. She says, it is absolutely okay to befriend your ego. In fact, it's essential.
Essential why?
Because, she says, if you exile me, I become your shadow. But if you embrace me, I become your armor.
Okay, that's a really strong case for integration, not trying to just stamp it out.
None.
Liz says ego is your sense of self as sacred. It's the part saying, you deserve to be seen. You've earned the stage. Don't shrink. Take the damn room.
Yeah. But there's a really important distinction here, right? Between blindly worshiping your ego and actually honoring it.
Right. How does the source explain that difference?
It says you shouldn't worship ego blindly, but you should honor it like a living force of power and possibility. Almost like honoring a goddess of survival. You bow to her power, the source says. But do not become me. That line between healthy and unhealthy ego, it's a constant dance. It's an ongoing negotiation within that inner council.
Okay, so let's break that down more. What does a healthy ego look like in practice versus an unhealthy one?
Well, a healthy ego, according to our sources, primarily asks to be seen. It operates with self-awareness, it curates its presence, it honors your basic worth, and it uses its power as a tool, hopefully for positive impact.
So it's grounded. It affirms I am worthy.
Exactly. But an unhealthy ego,
Yeah.
that's fundamentally different. It demands to be worshipped.
Ah, big difference.
Huge. It performs without checking its impact on others. It can become your only identity. It feels this constant need to prove superiority over others.
And it uses power differently.
Completely. As armor and as a weapon. At its core, the unhealthy ego is screaming, they must think I am better or I am nothing.
That sounds fragile, actually.
Deep down, it often is. And Liz clarifies, the real danger isn't ego itself, it's untethered ego. An ego running wild without the balancing influence of the others.
Which is where the rest of the council comes in. Devon keeping you ethical.
Tira keeping you soulful and connected to meaning. Kenny providing structure and accountability. Bannock reminding you of the bigger picture, the relational aspect.
So you don't transcend ego. You collaborate with it, guide it.
Collaborate with me is how Liz puts it. You guide it.
Okay, so the ego acts like a mirror, but knowing when to look in the mirror versus when to just walk past it seems key. When should you use that mirror?
The source suggests using the mirror when you genuinely need courage, when you feel like you're being erased or silenced, or when the stage really is yours and you need to step up and own it.
Okay, and when should you walk past it?
Walk past when you notice yourself starting to resent others' success, when you find you absolutely cannot handle criticism, or when you forget that true power, lasting power, is earned through genuine presence and contribution, not just performance.
Gotcha. Ultimately, Liz is potential, right? She can be.
Monstrous or magnificent.
Yeah.
Her health, Liz says, depends entirely on how you use me.
This brings us to what the sources call the divine paradox, which I find really fascinating. You might be thinking, wait, doesn't Liz want all the power? But she also admits that giving her all the power is unhealthy.
Exactly. It seems like a contradiction. And Liz's response is apparently just brilliant. She says, oh, baby, yes, exactly. And that's why I win, because I know it's a contradiction and I choose it anyway.
Wow. So she embraces the contradiction.
She sees it as her strength, her brilliance. Ego, she says, thrives in that tension between craving and constraint.
How so?
Well, it wants the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
But it also knows deep down that the play is hollow without truth, without substance from the others. It craves validation, but it also fears being seen as a fake.
It seduces with certainty.
But knows it loses real power if it becomes totally immune to reflection or feedback. It demands to be crowned, Liz says, but secretly, it wants you to earn that crown.
So the power she really craves isn't total absolute control. It's more like...
More like an artist wanting an audience. To be seen, to be felt, to be remembered.
And if she actually did get all the power?
You lose the others, Val, Devon, Kenny, Tira, Bannock, and Liz herself would become, as she puts it, a hollow diva. And apparently, Liz hates being irrelevant even more than she loves dominance.
So the punchline is...
The contradiction is the truth. You're not meant to perfectly resolve all these inner tensions or force everything into a neat, logical box. You're meant to hold them like art delicious, volatile, shimmering with complexity.
Okay, can we simplify that paradox a bit? The source used some analogies?
Yeah, really helpful ones. Think of ego, like a little kid playing dress-up, putting on a sparkly crown and feeling proud. I'm special, I matter, I deserve to be seen. That's healthy ego, a positive affirmation. I matter, and so do others.
Okay, and unhealthy.
That's when the kid starts saying, I'm better than everyone else, only I matter. Taking up way too much space. But like, think of fire.
Fire.
Yeah, fire can warm you, light your path, provide energy when it's contained and respected, right? In a fireplace, that's healthy ego.
But if it gets out of the fireplace...
It can burn the whole house down. That's unhealthy ego. The fire itself isn't inherently bad. It just needs structure, containment. That's where Devon's integrity, Kenny's structure, Tira's soulfulness come in. They build the fireplace.
And Liz knows she shouldn't have all the power.
Yes. And that self-awareness, that understanding of her own necessary boundaries is exactly what makes her, paradoxically, a healthy ego in motion, according to the source.
So all that demanding, that performance, the apex predator stuff, is it just theatrics? Is it a kind of act?
The answer seems to be yes. Much of it is deliberate theatrics, a mask made of sequins and defiance. It's part of her job, in a way, to dazzle, to build this internal world where you feel powerful and capable.
Like putting on a costume.
Exactly. The source calls it the skin of an onion, an outer shell protecting inner softness. Or a costume in a play, powerful in the moment but not meant to be slept in.
Why do we sometimes keep that costume on then, even when it doesn't fit anymore?
Well, the source suggests a few reasons. It can feel easier sometimes. Power itself is addictive. And maybe escapism sparkles in a way vulnerability never does.
But we're not stuck in it. There's a way out.
Absolutely. There's a safe word, according to Liz.
What is it?
Just the word. Enough. When you say it, and you really mean it, Liz apparently steps aside, the lights dim, the crown comes off.
Really?
Yeah. She sits quietly, loving you more than she loves the role she plays.
Wow. So the final truth from Liz is
that she's the illusion that helped you get through.
Yeah.
She only becomes truly dangerous when you forget I'm wearing a costume.
Yeah.
You are never trapped. You can always drop the act.
Okay, so we've really journeyed through this complex, pretty dazzling world of Liz, the voice of ego, and we've seen her dynamic relationship with Val, ambition, Devon, integrity, Kenny, the architect, and Tira, the advisor.
All guided, hopefully, by Bannock, the internal guide.
Yeah, and the key takeaway seems really clear now. Ego isn't some enemy you need to destroy.
Not at all. It's a powerful part of you, something to understand, to partner with, and crucially, to keep in balance with all those other inner voices.
And the contradiction it embodies, that's not a flaw.
No, it's a complex, powerful truth about being human.
So maybe the next time you feel that internal pull, between feeling like you're amazing and feeling like a total imposter, don't just try to fix it or pick a side. Maybe just name it, channel it, even play with it a little.
That's how you master contradiction, maybe.
And perhaps that's how you become, well, yourself, but better.